Beyond the Hype, a fashion lifestyle tech podcast. Presented by Stephanie Williams and Greg Lewis.
Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep into something really cool today. Focus på digitalizing.
Which you could translate as like, focus on digitalization.
Yeah, exactly. And we're focusing specifically on how it's playing out in Denmark's lifestyle and design cluster.
A great choice. It's this really dynamic hub where you have businesses, researchers, and even the government all collaborating.
And they're all working to make Danish design, fashion, and furniture more innovative and sustainable, which is awesome.
Definitely.
Okay, so focus på digitalizing. What's the big deal? Why is Denmark putting so much emphasis on it?
Well, think about it, especially in areas like design and manufacturing where things are constantly evolving.
You need to keep up, right?
More than that, even. Focus på digitalizing is about using digital tech to completely transform the way things are done.
So it's not just about replacing pen and paper with computers.
Not at all. It's much bigger. It's about boosting efficiency, promoting sustainability, and making things more responsive.
Responsive to what, exactly?
To the needs of businesses, the demands of consumers, and the challenges of the future.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. And the lifestyle and design cluster is right at the heart of this whole movement, right?
They are. They're not just talking about it. They're actively helping companies put focus på digitalizing into practice.
Okay, so how are they doing that? Give me some examples.
Well, take the fashion industry, for instance.
Okay, what's happening there?
The cluster's working with fashion companies to adopt these things called circular business models.
Hold on. Circular business models. I'm not familiar with that.
Right, so basically it's about shifting away from that old take, make, dispose way of doing things.
Yeah, that's definitely not sustainable.
Exactly. A circular model aims to keep resources in use for as long as possible. So think clothes that are designed to be repaired, reused, or recycled.
That makes so much sense. But how does digitalization come into play here?
That's the cool part. They're helping companies use digital tools to track materials, design clothes that can be easily disassembled, and even connect with consumers who are into secondhand fashion or renting clothes.
So it's all about minimizing waste and maximizing the value of resources.
You got it. And it's not just fashion either. They're doing similar things in the furniture and interior design sectors.
Really? Like what?
Well, for example, they helped a company called One Collection implement 3D modeling and augmented reality.
Ooh, augmented reality. That sounds super cool.
It is. It allows customers to see how virtual furniture would look in their own homes, like a digital showroom.
Wow, so you can try before you buy virtually.
Exactly. It saves resources, reduces waste, and gives customers a more personalized experience.
That's brilliant. Okay, so we've talked about fashion and furniture. What about other areas of design?
It's happening across the board. The cluster's supporting businesses of all sizes, helping them adopt the right digital tools and strategies.
So they're kind of like matchmakers, connecting companies with the resources they need.
You could say that. They're also facilitating knowledge sharing and collaboration, which is crucial for driving innovation.
It sounds like they're really building a thriving ecosystem for digitalization in Danish design.
That's the goal. They're working to make Denmark a global leader in sustainable and digitally driven design.
Now, I remember reading about this event they put on called Circular Furniture Days. Can you tell me more about that?
Oh, yeah. Circular Furniture Days is a fantastic example of how they're putting focus på digitalizing into action.
So what exactly happens at this event?
Think of it as a giant gathering of all the cool kids in the furniture world, designers, manufacturers, tech experts, even consumers.
All in one place. That sounds pretty intense.
It is. And they're all there to explore the latest and greatest in circular design.
Okay, break that down for me. What's circular design in simple terms?
Imagine furniture that's designed to last forever, or at least a really long time.
Like heirloom quality furniture that gets passed down through generations.
Kind of. But it goes beyond that. It's also about designing furniture that can be easily repaired, upgraded, or even transformed into something new when it reaches the end of its life.
So less waste, more resourcefulness.
Exactly. And Circular Furniture Days showcases how digital tools are making this possible.
I'm guessing things like 3D modeling and those virtual reality tools we talked about earlier come to play here.
Absolutely. Those tools help designers create furniture that can be easily disassembled and reassembled, so it's easier to repair or upgrade.
That's amazing. So it's not just about aesthetics anymore. It's about the entire life cycle of the product.
Exactly. And that's a key principle of focus på digitalizing, using technology to create a more sustainable and circular economy.
It's incredible to see how all these ideas are coming together. Okay, so we've seen the big picture, but I'm curious about the specifics.
You mean like what kinds of digital tools the cluster is actually promoting?
Exactly. What are they encouraging businesses to use?
Well, it's really tailored to the individual business's needs, but we're talking about things like 3D modeling software for designing and testing products virtually.
That makes sense. No need for expensive physical prototypes.
Right. And then in the fashion world, they're pushing for digital platforms that allow companies to connect directly with consumers and offer personalized experiences.
So like letting customers customize the fit and style of their clothes online.
Exactly. And it goes even further: virtual fashion shows, tools for managing supply chains sustainably, AI for generating design ideas. It's a whole toolbox of possibilities.
It sounds pretty overwhelming. I can imagine it's a lot for some companies to wrap their heads around.
It can be, but that's where the cluster comes in. They offer training programs, workshops, consultations, all kinds of support to help businesses navigate this new digital landscape.
So they're not just throwing companies into the deep end and saying, figure it out.
Not at all. They're providing the guidance and support needed to make this transition as smooth as possible.
It's really inspiring to see how they're empowering businesses to embrace digitalization and thrive in this new era.
I agree. It's not just about technology. It's about creating a culture of innovation and collaboration.
Now, we've talked a lot about the tech side of things, but I'm also curious about the human element.
You mean the people behind all these amazing innovations?
Exactly. I know the cluster is doing some great work in the areas of entrepreneurship and talent development. Can you tell us more about that?
They're all about nurturing the next generation of designers and entrepreneurs. It's crucial for the future of Danish design.
Okay, so how are they going about doing that?
Well, I've got mentorship programs that connect rising stars with seasoned pros, workshops to help them develop digital skills, things like 3D printing, VR, even coding.
So it's not just about artistic talent anymore, it's about having those tech skills too.
Absolutely. And it's not just about tech either. They're also emphasizing things like critical thinking and collaboration, which are super important.
So it's about creating well-rounded individuals who can really thrive in this rapidly evolving digital world.
Exactly. It's about equipping them with the tools and mindset to not just adapt to the future, but to shape it.
I love that. Okay, I want to shift gears for a minute and talk about the bigger picture. How do you see focus podigitalizing shaping the future of design, both in Denmark and beyond?
It's a big question. I think we're going to see Danish design becoming even more innovative, more sustainable, and more connected to the global design scene.
And how about the impact on consumers? How do you think our experience of design will change?
I think we'll see a lot more personalized design experiences where consumers can really co-create products that perfectly meet their needs and preferences.
So like instead of just choosing from a limited selection of pre-designed products, we'll have more say in the design process.
Exactly. And with technologies like 3D printing becoming more accessible, we'll even be able to manufacture those custom designs right at home.
That's pretty mind-blowing. It sounds like the lines between designer and consumer are going to become increasingly blurred.
I think so, and that's really exciting. It opens up a whole new world of creative possibilities.
I completely agree. Okay, before we get carried away with all the possibilities, I want to bring this back to our listener for a moment.
Always a good idea. How should we frame it?
Well, we've seen how focus pull digitalizing is playing out in Denmark's design industry, but I'd love for our listeners to think about how these ideas might apply to their own fields.
A great point. It's about more than just furniture and fashion.
Exactly. So, dear listener, we challenge you. Think about your own industry or field of work. How is digitalization shaping things there? What opportunities and challenges do you see?
It's a fascinating question to ponder. I think we can all learn from Denmark's example and think critically about how we can harness the power of digitalization to create positive change in our own spheres.
Absolutely. Whether you're a designer, an entrepreneur, a student, or simply someone who's passionate about innovation, there's something for everyone in this conversation.
Definitely. It's a conversation that's only going to become more relevant as technology continues to evolve at such a rapid pace. We were talking about all the cool things the lifestyle and design cluster is doing.
Right, how they're supporting businesses and the whole design scene in Denmark.
Yeah, and a big part of that is their work on Tide's projector,
which translates to
sustainability projects. It's a big deal for them making things more eco-friendly.
Makes sense. Sustainability is a huge topic everywhere these days.
Totally. And they're using digitalization to tackle it in some pretty innovative ways.
Give me some examples. What kind of projects are they working on?
Well, they're partnering with companies in fashion and furniture, helping them use more sustainable materials.
Okay, like what kind of materials?
Things like recycled textiles, reclaimed wood stuff that would gone to waste.
So they're not just designing eco-friendly products, they're looking at the whole supply chain.
Exactly. They're promoting circular design, where the goal is to minimize waste and keep resources in use as long as possible.
So it's not just about making things that are biodegradable or whatever. It's about rethinking the whole system.
You got it. It's about moving away from that old linear model of take, make, dispose.
And embracing a more circular approach, right?
Yes. It's about materials constantly being regenerated and reused.
I'm really curious to hear how they're putting this into practice. What specific projects are they involved in?
One project that stands out is their partnership with a textile recycling company.
Okay, what are they doing with them?
They helped them implement this cool digital platform that tracks the journey of recycled textiles.
Wait, like from the moment they're collected to when they end up in new clothes?
Exactly. You can see the whole process, where the materials come from, how they're processed, everything.
Wow, so it's kind of like a digital passport for recycled materials.
You could say that. It brings a whole new level of transparency to the supply chain.
And it probably helps consumers feel more confident about buying recycled products.
Absolutely. People want to know where their clothes are coming from and that they're genuinely sustainable.
That makes a lot of sense.
Uh-huh.
Are there any other cool projects they're working on?
Oh yeah, tons. Another one involves using digital tools to design for disassembly.
Design for disassembly. What's that?
It means designing products like furniture that can be easily taken apart and reassembled.
Why would you want to do that?
Think about it. If you can easily disassemble a chair, you can repair it more easily, upgrade it, or even repurpose the parts when it reaches the end of its life.
So instead of throwing the whole thing away, you can give it a second life.
Exactly. It's a huge step towards reducing waste in the furniture industry.
And I'm guessing this is where those digital tools like 3D modeling and virtual reality come in handy.
You got it. Those tools allow designers to simulate the disassembly process and make sure their designs are truly circular.
It's amazing how technology is enabling us to rethink the whole concept of product design. It's not just about making things look good anymore.
It's about creating products that are good for the planet and good for people in the long run.
I love that. Now, I know the cluster is also doing a lot to support the next generation of designers and entrepreneurs. The source material mentions Uddannelses og talentutvikling.
Right, which means education and talent development.
They're really investing in the future, aren't they?
Absolutely. They know that the success of Danish design depends on having a skilled and passionate workforce.
What kind of programs are they offering to support this?
Well, they've got mentorship programs where young designers can learn from experienced professionals.
That's a great way to get real-world insights.
Definitely. They also offer workshops and training sessions on specific digital skills like 3D printing, virtual reality, even coding.
Wow, so they're really equipping them with the tools of the trade.
Exactly. And it's not just about technical skills. They also emphasize things like creativity, critical thinking, and collaboration.
So it's about nurturing well-rounded individuals who can not only use the tools, but also think outside the box.
You nailed it. They're fostering a new generation of designers who are both technically skilled and creatively inspired.
Okay, so we've seen how the cluster is supporting businesses, promoting sustainability, and nurturing talent. Really impressive. But I'm curious about the bigger picture now.
You mean the overall impact of focus på digitalizing on the Danish design industry?
Exactly. How do you see this movement shaping the future of design, both in Denmark and beyond?
I think we're going to see Danish design becoming even more innovative, more sustainable, and more globally connected.
Can you elaborate on that a bit? What specific changes do you foresee?
Well, I think we'll see a lot more personalized design experiences where consumers can co-create products that perfectly meet their needs and preferences.
So instead of just choosing from a limited selection of pre-designed products, we'll have more input in the design process.
Exactly. And with technologies like 3D printing becoming more accessible, we might even be able to manufacture those custom designs right at home.
Wow, that would be a game changer.
Yeah.
It sounds like the lines between designer and consumer are going to become increasingly blurred.
I think so. And that's really exciting. It opens up a whole new world of creative possibilities for everyone.
Okay, I'm getting excited just thinking about it. But before we get too carried away with all the possibilities, I want to bring this back to our listener for a moment.
Sure. What do you have in mind?
We've seen how focus på digitalisering is playing out in Denmark, but I'd love for our listeners to think about how these ideas might apply to their own fields.
That's a great idea. This isn't just a Danish thing, it's a global phenomenon.
Exactly. So, dear listener, take a moment to think about your own industry or field of work. How is digitalization shaping things there? What opportunities do you see? What challenges?
It's a great question to reflect on. We can all learn from each other's experiences and think critically about how to best leverage technology for positive change.
Absolutely. Whether you're a designer, an entrepreneur, a student, or just someone who's curious about the future, this conversation is relevant to all of us.
Definitely. Technology is changing the world at an incredible pace, and it's up to us to shape that change in a way that benefits everyone.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground today, from exploring specific sustainability projects to envisioning the future of design. I'm already feeling inspired.
Me too. It's amazing to see how the Lifestyle and Design Cluster is using Focus På Digitalisering to drive innovation and create a more sustainable future for Danish design.
And it's a great reminder that digitalization isn't just about technology. It's about people, purpose, and progress.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now, are you ready to hear about those case studies I promised?
Oh, absolutely. I'm dying to hear more about how these ideas are being put into practice in real-world scenarios.
All right, buckle up. Things are about to get even more interesting. So, ready to hear about some of those inspiring case studies?
Absolutely. Give me all the details.
Okay, well, one that really stood out to me was this project with a group of furniture designers.
Okay, what were they working on?
They were using this amazing software that let them simulate different materials and joinery techniques virtually.
So they could test out their designs without actually building anything.
Exactly. It saved them so much time and money on prototyping.
And I bet it helped them reduce waste, too.
Definitely. Plus, they were able to experiment with all sorts of sustainable materials and production methods.
Wow. That's incredible. It's like a whole new world of possibilities for furniture design.
It really is. And it's not just limited to physical products either.
What do you mean?
Well, the cluster is also supporting projects that are pushing the boundaries of digital design experiences.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
There's this one project where they're creating virtual showrooms for interior design.
So instead of going to a physical showroom, you can experience it all online.
Exactly. It's like walking through a beautifully designed space, but from the comfort of your own home.
And I bet it's way more accessible for people who don't live near design showrooms.
Absolutely. It democratizes design and makes it more inclusive.
I love that. Okay, so we've seen how Focus På Digitalisering is being used to create more sustainable products and experiences.
But it goes even deeper than that.
How so?
The cluster is also supporting projects that are exploring the use of digital technologies for social good.
Now that's something I'm really interested in. Tell me more about that.
Well, one example that comes to mind is this project where they're using 3D printing to create prosthetic limbs for children in developing countries.
Wow, that's incredible. So they're using technology to make a real difference in people's lives.
Exactly. It's a powerful example of how Focus På Digitalisering can be used to address some of the world's most pressing challenges.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get a sense of just how wide-reaching this movement is. It's about so much more than just efficiency and productivity.
It's about using technology to create a better future for everyone.
I couldn't agree more. We've covered a lot of ground today, from understanding the fundamentals of Focus På Digitalisering to exploring its real-world impact through these inspiring case studies.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It really has. And I think the key takeaway for our listeners is that digitalization is not just a trend, it's a fundamental shift in the way we design, create, and interact with the world around us.
And it's a shift that has the potential to create a more sustainable, equitable, and inspiring future for all of us.
Absolutely. So, dear listener, as we wrap up this deep dive, we encourage you to think critically about the role of digitalization in your own life and work.
How can you harness the power of technology to drive positive change in your own sphere of influence?
It's a question worth pondering. And if you're looking for inspiration, we highly recommend checking out the work of the Lifestyle and Design Cluster. They're a true beacon of innovation and a shining example of what's possible when we embrace the power of Focus På Digitalisering.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep innovating, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Happy designing.
Beyond the Hype, a fashion lifestyle tech podcast.